Hey folks, it has been quite a long time since I've put up a video and I am very sorry about that. A lot has been happening in the garden, but I was a little bit clumsy a couple weeks ago and I sprained my ankle, so I wasn't really able to film as much of it as I would have liked. I did get a few bits and pieces that I wanted to share, as well as, of course, my end of June garden tour. I've got some lovely footage here of some blue jays that have been taking showers in my sprinkler as of late. But let's get started with the end of June in the garden. One of the exciting things that happened in the end of June is that I saw this carrot poking out, and thinking it was ready to be picked, I picked it, but it was a little bit short. Hopefully through July we'll get some longer ones though. Here is the bean experiment. The little beans were coming up here, doing really well. But in the garden, they came up, but they did the same thing. I think they're being eaten by slugs or snails or something like that. So these were the last little bits of them that I ended up taking out in late June. But I did get one more plant. One other thing that happened was the peas were ready to be picked. Look at all of those glorious peas, all the pods, plump and juicy. So here's me picking them. And of course, shelling them all. And you would be surprised how few peas you get from a giant container of pea pods. And then it was time to say goodbye to the peas, and this is their last day on Earth. Here I come, pulling them out. Goodbye, peas. Interestingly, on their roots, I found a little nitrogen-fixing bacteria. And since I'm a scientist, I'm showing you those. So, that is the garden without the peas. So let's go on a little bit of a tour, starting with my cantaloupe that finally came up. Only one, though. And my zucchinis are doing really well. You can even see some of the tiny flowers forming. Very excited about these because I think they're going to be very prolific. Next to the zucchini is the similar looking pumpkin plant that also has tiny flowers forming. Next to the pumpkin should be the parsnips, but they still haven't come up yet. Next to the parsnips should be the beans, but there's still just that one bean plant that came up. Next to the beans are where the peas were, which I'm leaving open so I can weed, and I'll put lettuce in there in August. And then we've got the beets, which are looking so much better from what they were before. And within the beets and the carrots, I've got my sunflowers growing really tall. I actually had to stake them. Look at them all. And we've got the beautiful Ikaban Japanese eggplant, which is growing a little fruit there. And next to that, we've got the tiny patio mini baby bell eggplant creature, which is also growing fruit. And then we've got all the tomatoes, which are just flourishing. Look at how tall and beautiful, and all the beautiful flowers on them. And all of them have little fruits. This one, those. There's some more. There's the early girl. And the peppers are doing reasonably well. Here's the serrano pepper setting some fruit. And the green pepper and the red pepper also setting some fruit. And here's my special volunteer corn plant, which I will not rip out, even though I won't get corn from it. It's very special. Do you remember last time I showed you these tomato plants? They were tiny in tiny little pots. Well, I repotted them, and they have grown like crazy. I'm so excited because I grew these ones from seed, and they're looking really good. And the potatoes are growing as strong as ever, and they are almost ready to be harvested for new potatoes because look, there's little flowers growing on one of them. And here are those beans, which moments ago you saw were coming up, but now are giant plants. And you can see the buckets worked better than the garden because they actually grew in the buckets. And here we have some Minnesota midget melons, which actually grew in this pot. I don't know why they're growing here and not in the garden, but I have some cantaloupes growing. So that's it for this part of the garden and the other part of the garden. I hope you enjoyed this little update, and I'll have another one for you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!